Hi again, and we're going to be playing another square bashing solo game again today. The country is still in lockdown, and I think it will be for the foreseeable future. This is continuing on from the 1918 Battle of Oars game that I played. You'll find a description. You'll find links for that in the description. This, we've gone back 2 years. This is the 1st of July 1916. This is the infamous first day of the Battle of the Somme. Of course, the Battle of the Somme, the first day of it actually begins a week before with the artillery bombardment, but the first day is the 1st of July, as it's popularly known. And in this particular scenario, I'm recreating the attack on Serre, Beaumont-Hamel and Thiepval. These are the 3 villages here. This was an area that was attacked by the 31st, 4th, 29th and 36th British divisions. It was defended by the Germans of the 169th, the 121st, the 119th and the 99th German regiments. It actually has quite a mix of British units all the way up and down it, because we've got in the north up at Serre we have the some of the PALS battalions. One of my local units, the Sheffield City Battalion for instance, were involved up there. In the centre at Beaumont-Hamel here we also have the New Zealanders, sorry, not New Zealand, there's Newfoundlanders. They were attacking at Beaumont-Hamel. We also have further in the south as well, down at Thiepval, and around Thiepval we have the 36th Ulster Division, so Irishmen fighting in that particular area. What you can see here is the crater at Hawthorn crater, which destroyed Hawthorn Ridge. This was fired at 7:20 AM. It was set off by the local commander, Hunter Weston, I believe, and he insisted that it would be set off 10 minutes before all the other mines went off and 10 minutes before the attack went in. Now, this seems a little silly from a 100 years standpoint, but really he was thinking about his men. He didn't want them to get caught up in the explosion, and he certainly didn't want them to get killed by the debris that was falling down. People have said that it gave the Germans warning that the attack was coming. However, the week-long bombardment and the crescendo that it was actually working towards probably also gave away some of the plans that were going to happen. So, whether he was right or wrong, the Germans were able to get onto the edge of the crater, as they have here, and this is one of our objectives for this game, along with 3 villages, as I say, Serre, Beaumont-Hamel and Thiepval itself. These were all first day objectives in this area on the first day of the Somme. Beaumont-Hamel didn't actually fall until November. It was captured by the 51st Highland Division, and Thiepval didn't fall until September and was captured by the 18th Division. So, although in this area is quite a failure, further down south as the Somme frontage is about 10 miles long, down around Montauban, the 30th Division down there captured most of their first day objectives. Very few casualties were caused. Up here is a very different story. However, the British historically didn't get into Serre. They also, as I say, didn't get into Beaumont-Hamel, but the Irish Ulster Division actually managed to get into the German lines and hold them for a few days. One of the reasons they did this was because they actually crawled out into no man's land and they ran at the German lines. So it kind of puts paid to the myth that all the British soldiers walked into German machine gun fire. They certainly didn't. But enough of the history lesson. As I say, this is the game. The 3 objectives are these 3 villages and the crater. If the British hold at least 3 of these by the end of the game, it's a victory. If they capture all 4, then it's a massive, major victory. The Germans are in trenches, so they're going to be very difficult to get out of already. I've done the depletions. The Germans have lost, they've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases, and they've also had a full battalion removed from this front line as well. And just a word as well, just because of the level of this, the units probably are not going to be battalions, they're more likely brigades at this point, just because of the higher level of this game, this scenario in particular. But it just shows you how you can use square bashing, to play as larger engagements or as small as you want, really, down to battalion level and up. So we have a German battalion that's off in reserve that will come on at some point. The rest of them are still lining their lines in these trenches, and let's get this game started and see what happens and see if the British can change history. First things first, the British have hit the Germans with a rolling barrage. They managed to move it all the way up to Serre. Unfortunately, they weren't able to reach Beaumont-Hamel with it, and also they weren't able to reach the crater at Hawthorn Ridge. They have hit a couple of units in these front lines and these guys at Serre, so I'll just do the quick saving rolls for these. They're normal units, so these are saving on 3, 4, 5, 6s. So let's see, first one's, that's one hit and one save. These ones, one hit and one save. The units in here, the Germans get to decide which ones they want to put it on, so they will put one on the professionals, 3, 4, 5, 6 they're saving on, they've not saved, and a 3, 4, 5, 6 for the machine gun as well. If I get these put together, that's saved. And that's it. So each of these units are taking a hit, the professionals are taking a hit. So I'll get those set up. Okay, for the first attack over here at Serre, we've got the British coming in. These are some of the PALS battalions. They're rolling 10 dice. So we'll see what they get. They get 5s and 6s as hits. So that's only 2 hits out of there. And the Germans are firing back, and they're only rolling 2 dice because they're literally stuck on their own under a barrage. They've caused 1 hit. So the Germans have to take their 2 hits on their units, on their normal units anyway, so let's see what they get. That's 2 saves. The British decide to put theirs, or me, I'm the player, there I'm going to put mine on the professional unit because they're saving on a 3+. So they've saved as well. However, it means that there is no movement because it's a tie. So the British are still in their square. They also take another 3 hits, and I do those saves as well, and the Germans get to winning the fight. So although we've attacked in strength with the units on either side supporting and under a barrage, they've still not actually been able to get into this trench. Not good so far, but let's just see what happens with these other 3 hits. So I'll put the first 2 onto the professionals. They're both saves, and the Germans will decide to put it onto one of the regulars, and that has saved as well anyway, so at least they didn't take any casualties from that actual attack. This attack over here has gone in and captured the trench. There was actually a German battalion in this front line, which is why I'd spear pointed 3 units there with professionals. However, the Germans were removed to their reserves, so they basically captured that part of the trench straight away. However, it's left these guys over here slightly more exposed against these Germans. This might take a little while to get these out. The British are only rolling 4 dice for this attack. However, they have hit 2. The Germans are firing back with 2 dice, and they've caused 1 casualty. So there's only 1 British infantry unit there, so they've saved their rolls, and there's only 1 German infantry unit there as well, so all their hits are on there. So they've saved 1 and lost 1, so they lost half a base and taken a casualty. That means the British have captured that. The Germans will fall back. The British will actually move in to take that area. The Germans will fall back with their casualties. So at least we were able to get into one part of the trench. And the Germans take another 3 hits, 2 saves and another kill, so that's another half base off and another casualty. So despite not gaining the trenches at Serre, a smaller infantry attack has gone in and actually taken pretty heavy casualties on the Germans there and captured the frontline trench. So that's excellent. I really thought that wasn't going to be a done deal there. Mixed fortunes in the first British and German turns. The Germans have just finished their turn. I'll describe what they've done in a second. But they've rolled their countdown timer, and it's gone from 21 now down to 15. That means potentially there might only be 3 turns left in this battle. The British are going to capture the 3 villages by the time the turner has gone down to 0. So, British attacked. They failed to get into the trenches here at Serre. They are in a position to re-attack again though. However, they managed to capture the trenches here in front of Beaumont-Hamel and actually push the German defenders out, who were affected by their morale, so they couldn't move. They got into the front line here. As I said, this was where a German battalion had been, but they managed to capture it, and they are now pushing up towards the crater at Hawthorn Ridge. However, the Germans just fired a suppression barrage on these 5 squares here, and unfortunately that locks the British in position under those places. So although they're able to attack here, they're really pretty stuck on this end of the table. So let's see how they deal with that and move on to the next turn. The Pals of battalions are attacking again at Serre. They're rolling 10 dice. So let's see how many hits this causes on these Germans here. So that's 4 hits. The Germans are now rolling 4 dice. Let's see how many they cause. No hits. So let's see how many of these hits actually land. 4, 5, 6 are the saves. That's 2 saves, 2 kills. So that's 1 base taken off. The British then take create more casualties, so they now get the winning of the fight, so I'll give that to the professionals. The Germans are pushed back 1 square, taking their 2 casualties with them. We'll put those in a second. They also take 3 more hits, which takes out another 2 casualties. So that's 4 casualties in that square there. And the British, the Pals, have beaten history, and they're in the front lines. Just get these set up. So we've got more German artillery trouble for the British in the Germans' turn. They dropped a point barrage right on top of these 3 units. Perfect timing as they're attacking into Hawthorn Crater. So this first unit here has taken 5 hits. So that's the roll for them. They're saving on 4, 5, 6. So that's 2 saves, 3 kills. So that's not great straight away. So they've taken 3 casualties there. The machine gun has taken 3 hits down here, so we'll roll those. That's saving on 3 or above. So 1 save, 1 kill, so that is damaged. It's not looking great for the British so far. And this final area takes 6 hits. The British are going to put the first 2 onto the professionals. The Germans will put all 4 onto this unit here. So I'll roll for the professionals first. They're saving on 3 or above. They're 2 saves. The non-professionals are saving on a 4, 5 or a 6. So that's 3 saves, 1 kill. So that's pretty badly hammered them, but not they managed to get away with it at least. At the end of the German turn, they only rolled 1 for their countdown timer, so it's now on 14. But the quick sit reppers of the Pals battalions managed to get into the frontline trenches at Serre. They pushed back the German defenders who were here stuck. However, German reinforcements did arrive, and they've now moved into Serre village itself. So that's quite a little hedgehog defence. We've still got the defenders here at Beaumont-Hamel, who have not yet seen any fighting. But we do have an entire British army lined up in the trenches ready to go. The Brits over here on the right hand side got hit by this German point effect barrage, took out quite a few casualties from one of the units here, probably the 36th Irish Division units, and they've also managed to move in half the remains of a unit into the crater at Hawthorn. So they're actually trying to consolidate their objectives at this point. So the fact that the British have actually got into the frontline trenches is brilliant, but we still haven't got a single objective captured yet. So let's just see how we get on. The British units that were attacking Hawthorn Ridge have had to fall back because of the artillery, but the Newfoundlanders have managed to get in. 29th Division are now attacking Hawthorn Ridge and the objective in the flank. They're rolling 10 dice, so let's see what they get. That's a good number of hits, that's 4 hits. But this is the first time they come up against German machine guns, so they are rolling 9 dice in their defence, and they've caused 3 hits. So 3 against 4. So let's work these out. The Germans placed their first 2, they're going to put them on their normal infantry unit. The British will put the other 2 on the machine gun. The British will place their first 2 hits on the professional unit, the Germans will place it on one of the normal units. So let's go through these. Machine guns saving on 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 hit, so that's damaged it. The infantry are saving on 3, 4, 5, 6 because they're in trenches. 2 saves. The professionals here are saving on 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1 hit. The final British one is saving on 4, 5, 6. So that's another hit. So the British have taken more hits there. They failed to gain their objective, but they have damaged the machine gun, so it's not been so bad. At the end of another German turn, the countdown timer is now on 8, so it's getting closer, tick-tocking down very, very quickly. Over at Serre, the British attacked the remaining German unit here, managed to destroy them and push forward, so they're now actually on the edge of Serre, so that's going to be assaulted in their next turn. The Germans fired a point barrage, however it undershot its target and actually fell on its own defenders, taking out a machine gun unit in there. But it did do some pretty heavy damage to this British unit on the left hand side here. Across the rest of the board, British units have managed to move forward. There was the attack on Hawthorn Crater, which unfortunately failed to gain it, but it has damaged the machine gun in there. And this section of the British infantry are still lagging behind after they were pushed back because of their morale. So we're getting close to the end of the game with the countdown timer, and still not a single objective is in British hands. The British attacking into Serre. They're rolling 13 dice, unlucky for some. Let's just see if that gives them a good hit. So they've got 3 hits. Not fantastic, but it may still be enough. The Germans, on the other hand, are only rolling 2. And no hits. So the British have caused 3 hits. The Germans are going to put their 2 of the hits onto the normal battalion, so that's 3 and above. The British will put theirs also on there. So they're all firing at the same normal unit, so 3 and above saves. That's 3 saves. That means the Germans get a winning the fight marker. The British lose theirs. And they take 3 more hits. The British will put 2 of them on the professionals, the Germans will put them on the normal. So the professionals are 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 1 hit. And casualty, should I say. And we've already taken a casualty, so I'll swap that back. And the other hit 4, 5, 6 saves. That's a save. Oh dear, I was hoping they would have taken Serre at this point. Now we have an assault into Beaumont-Hamel coming in from the flank and the front. So the British have caused 2 hits, whereas the Germans cause, my God, 2, 6, 7, 8 hits on the British attackers. So the Germans decide to put their 2 on just their infantry. The British will decide to put 2 on this infantry unit. The Germans will put the rest on this unit who are coming in here. So let's roll those. So 3, 4, 5, 6 for the saves for the Germans. That's both saved. So it's not looking good for the Brits. 6 is here. They need 4, 5, 6 to save. 3 saves, 3 hits. So that's those guys off. And 3 casualties. And the final 2. That's 2 more hits, so that's another full base off with 2 more casualties. The British lose their winning the fight marker. That goes over to the Germans. Go to these guys. The British take 3 more hits. So the first 2 they will put onto this unit, and the Germans will put their 3rd one also on that unit. So that's 3 more dead. So that's 2.5 bases. Absolute utter failure. That's probably the worst result so far this game. Absolutely terrible. Let's see if we can do any better at Hawthorn Crater. British are rolling 8 dice. That's 1 hit. The Germans are rolling 8 dice. And that's 1 hit. So the British will put their hit onto the professionals. The Germans will put their hit onto their normal infantry. So their infantry 3, 4, 5, 6 saved. The British 3, 4, 5, 6 saved. No, that's a kill. So they take another 3 hits, and the attack is a failure again. So they will put their first 2 hits onto the professionals, and then the Germans will put one onto the front unit there. So they've saved theirs. The professionals 3, 4, 5, 6. They've saved theirs, but they've taken 1 casualty. So absolute failure there. Brilliant. And let's take another look at the board. Now it's the end of the Germans' turn. So this is, they've got their countdown time down to 5. So it could end next turn. There's basically a 2 in 6 chance of the game finishing. The British attacked into Serre, couldn't capture it. They took a casualty, so they'll be doing a morale test in their turn. The British also tried to attack into Beaumont-Hamel, took absolute huge casualties here, half a battalion wiped out, and the other half as well, so they took actually 8 casualties in total. This unit were stuck because of their morale, so they couldn't do anything apart from lend support. Over at Hawthorn Crater, the Germans are still in possession of the ridge, still got a machine gun up there, and they're faced off by these 3 British units still. So the British tried to attack all 3 of their 4 objectives in this turn, and didn't fail to get a single one. But maybe they might be luckier in this turn. Let's find out. So the Pals battalions are lining up for another assault into Serre. So let's see how this does. So that's 4 hits. The Germans are rolling 6 dice. So those out in a second, so we'll see what they do. They have 2 hits. So the Brits will put 1 each on each of their regular units. The Germans will put 2 onto their regular unit, and the British will also put the other 2 onto their regular unit. So let's roll for these. 4, 5, 6, they've saved. 4, 5, 6, they've taken a casualty, of course. And the Germans are saving on a 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 2 casualties and 2 saves. So the Germans have actually lost that fight, so that means the British push them out. The Germans take 3 more hits, and the British have captured Serre. So now they're winning the fight, so that swaps over. The professionals are pushed back. The Germans there with 2 extra casualties, and the British move in to Serre. Fantastic. Now the attack on Beaumont-Hamel in the flank. See how this goes. British have hit 4 Germans. The Germans roll their dice, and they have hit. That was a 5. 8 hits on the British. Oof. Right, so let's work these out. The British will take their first 2 on the professionals. The Germans will put all 6 on the undamaged unit there. The Germans here will put their first 2 on that unit, and the British will put their second 2 on the machine gun. So we'll work our way through. Germans are saving on 3s. That's 2 hits, so that's 2 off straight away. The machine guns are saving on 3s, so they're okay. So the Germans have taken 2 casualties. The British, on the other hand, the 2 on the professionals, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they're saved. They're both saved. The 6 on the normal infantry is a 4, 5, 6, and it's a save. My God, not a single one, so that's 6 casualties on the British there. 3 bases straight off. Wow. Beaumont-Hamel is really holding its own here. I think with this, the British are going to really struggle to take it. So that's 6 hits, 6 casualties in there. Another terrible result. And back at Hawthorn crater, the British. Oh, that's a good result. 2, 4, 6 hits. So that was on the second. The Germans. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. So quite large hits on both sides. So let's see what we've got. The British will take 2 on the professionals. The Germans will then put 2 on their normal unit. The Germans will put 2 onto their normal unit. The British will put the other 4. They'll put 2 on that machine gun and 2 on that unit there. Try to spread them out. Right, so we'll do the British first of all. Their 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6 saves. So that's 2 saves, 2 4s. The professionals are saving on 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 1 kill. Another casualty there on the professionals. The Germans, on the other hand, the machine gun. 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's saved. 2 kills. There's only 1 part of it left, so that takes 1 casualty. This may be, fingers crossed, the turning point. The 2 on the infantry, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's another casualty on them. So, half a base off. Well, so far the British are winning this now. And the other 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on those guys. So they've saved both of theirs. However, Germans have taken more casualties, so they take another 3 hits and they move out. So they will take their first 2 on these guys, and the British will also put it on there. So 3, 4, 5, 6 saves on these guys. So that's all of them saved, but they still fall back with the casualties they took, which is 2. That's for their morale. And the British move into the crater to consolidate it. Excellent. So that's 2 objectives at least. The British now also get their winning the fight, so I'll give that to the professionals here. The only thing the Germans can do here is try to assault Serre again. They're rolling 4, so that's 1 hit on the British. The British, however, have got a heavy defence here, and they have hit 5, 6 on the Germans. So the British will put theirs on their undamaged units at the front, saving on 3, 4, 5, 6. The Germans will put their first 2 on the professionals. The Brits will put the rest on those guys. So the British saving on 3+. No, that's taken a hit. And a casualty. You never know, the Germans could be very lucky here. The Germans here saving on 4, 5, 6. That's 3 saves. That was cocked, but it wasn't a 4, so they're all fine. And these are saving on 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 1 hit. So half a base off for the professionals. So that's the same. The Germans then take 3 hits because there's no difference. So they will put their first 2 on the professionals and then 1 more. And the British will put theirs on that guy. So the professionals saving on 3, 4, 5, 6. That's another hit on them, so that's 2 more casualties. Let's make a note of that when I get them. And 4, 5, 6 on those they've saved. So that's 2 casualties in there. So I've just rolled for the Germans countdown in their turn, and they've got it down to 1. So this is definitely the last turn of this game. So what happened in that turn? The British captured Serre. The Germans tried to counter-attack and actually came off far worse. The British also tried to attack into Beaumont-Hamel, took an absolute punishing damage on the infantry there on the right-hand side. They took a total of 6 casualties as they tried to get him. However, a bit more luck here. The British attacked and captured Hawthorn Ridge. They pushed the Germans out, pushed them all the way back to the edge of the table. The Thiepval is still in German hands, as is his trench line here. But this is how the table looks at this point on the very last turn. So let's just sort out this last turn, see what we can do, see if Beaumont-Hamel will fall this turn. And in the British last turn, they're going to assault into here from these guys, who are attacking in the flank with support from these units that are also in Serre. So see what happens. So that's 3 hits on the Germans, and the German defence is only 2 because they're under a barrage, and no hits at all. So 3 hits on the Germans. They will put their first 2 on the professionals, and the British will then put their third one on those guys. So the professionals, 3, 4, 5, 6 saves. That's another casualty, and these guys are saving on 4, 5, 6. So they've saved. So that's another German casualty in there, and half a base off. They then fall back, so they fall off table into the German reserves. They don't, because there's no reserves, there's little chance of them coming back on. They're pretty much destroyed and off the table. And the British move in and are winning the fight. And now the British final assault into Beaumont-Hamel, hitting them this side with the guys that have just come out of Serre. If they can capture this, they win the game. 1, 2, that was a 5, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits on the Germans. So the Germans will put They're 2 on these guys. The British will then put 2 on each of the machine guns. The Germans with their German machine guns, nests, see what they do. Oh, that's only 1 hit. The British will put that onto their professionals, as they can soak up hits better. So 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's a kill. Save, sorry. So that's a save. Now the Germans, they only need to lose 1 here, and the British have captured Beaumont. So let's have a look. 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 saves. Machine guns. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 hit. So that's damaged that machine gun and given the Germans a casualty in there. And their second machine gun, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's a save. Again, another damaged machine gun. So that's 2 casualties. The Germans are then pushed out of Beaumont, and the British are able to move in and take it. So let's get those in there. They get another winning the fight token to give out to their units. A fantastic result on the very last turn. So with the game over, the Germans couldn't do anything. They actually lost in their morale. They lost 2 units, remains of 2 units here. They fell off. However, the machine guns and the damaged unit there, they actually stayed on the board. But the British, it's a British victory because not only did they capture Serre, they managed to capture Beaumont-Hamel, and they took the Hawthorn Ridge as well. The only place that remains in German hands is the village of Thiepval at the back there. It wasn't even touched, and the only German remains of any survivors are these guys here, the ones in the trenches, and those, and a really badly damaged unit over here. Not a historical outcome, but still a bloody hard fight that for the British. I mean, the initial success of getting through those trenches, I thought it was going to go pretty easy, but then after that it became a real hard slog, especially trying to capture the crater and also Beaumont-Hamel as well. It took so many British casualties to get in there. But another great game of square bashing. I do hope you've enjoyed watching this video and the AAR. I hope it's given you a bit of an idea of how to play some First World War games. It's not really a period that's touched that often, apart from the early stuff. Have a look at some of these battles, they're very interesting. And if you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment. So thanks for that.